Rainbow. But okay, now we're live.
Are we
You
live?
know,
Okay.
we're live now, and I forgot to play my music. Hold on a second. I need to play some music. Wait a second. That was my intro music. I forgot.
Nice.
Right? We're waiting for a couple other people anyway. So
That's
excited.
good.
Yeah.
It relaxes us.
Okay,
Nice.
so we are talking today live about the power of community. Welcome, ladies. There's going to be a gentleman on too, hopefully. But this is Crowns and Coffee. So this is a weekly conversation that I started to have where we can just really go deep about different aspects that are meaningful to us and to those around us and the people that we serve as well. So this particular conversation is about power of community. Is there an echo or is it just me?
Yes.
There
There's an
is an echo.
echo.
Now, why is there an echo? Let's see. How about now? Is there still an echo?
No.
Okay. I think it was
Let's
still
go.
music maybe playing back there. Well, so today we're talking, like I said, about the power of community. And if you are watching this live, you know that you have your crown on because you chose to show up, you chose to listen in, and that means you have strength and you're ready to do something to move forward. And that requires some power inside of you. So you have your crown on. So believe that, whether you're male, female, this is all about community and why it matters and how can we heal with through the power of community and what it actually looks like to grow together instead of on our own. And that's what also we're going to be talking about. And we're not just talking at you today. We've got some amazing guests that are joining us. You see a couple here on the stage, and they're gonna share their stories as well, and I'm gonna introduce them now. So our first guest is Jace. Jace is a Black woman over 50. She inspires women to live boldly, dream big, and explore the world. And her channel proves there is no age limit on adventure or following your passion. She visits every African country and beyond, sharing her beauty, the beauty around her, her culture, diversity, and she inspires women. She's inspired me. And I love watching her. She's just so relaxing when I watch her on YouTube. Her channel is
Yeah.
Jace Nomad TV. Let me spell it JASENOMAD TV. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so and
Yep.
I'll put a link to everybody's channel in the description box after this. But she shares her solo travel adventures on a budget-friendly um, uh, chapter, and she's going to talk about that. And my other guest is Tamara, and she helps women reconnect with their bodies and cycles through deep transformational work that gets to the root of what's been holding them back so they can create sustainable change from the inside out. So I want to welcome both of you. Thank you so much for being here. So, Jace, let me start with you. We became like fast YouTube friends, and in this YouTube sphere, it is amazing to me how we can connect with somebody over the internet and even become like lifelong friends. It's just amazing to me. And I remember when my son used to tell me that, oh, his friend he met overseas and now they're the best of friends and have been for years. Like, how is that possible? but it's happening to me, and I just so appreciate it, the way we support one another and encourage one another. So tell me more about your community and how you go about servicing your community.
Hey Miriam, thank you so much for having me on the channel. I feel honored. And first, before I reply to that, I want to say something about what you just shared. Like my kids, like my daughters used to have like friend online. And I was like, that's not friend. Like, go see human, go outside and meet people. Until I come to YouTube and I have such an amazing community that I'm like, oh, now I understand that you can actually make friend online and it's real. You have a real connection. So
Mhm.
now, what did you ask me already?
How are you helping your community? In what way? Through your YouTube channel?
Right. First of all, when I started my channel, I wanted to show Black lady and specifically African women because I'm African, I'm from Gabon. We are allowed to have our to live our dreams. We are allowed to have hobbies. We are allowed to have fun. Because when I was living in Africa for 2 years, I've seen people of our age, like Gen Xers. These women were living for their husband and their kid, but didn't have anything at all for themselves. I used to take them on weekend and I showed them their own countries.
Mhm.
Because they didn't have anything for themselves. For them, life was about looking after their husband and their kid. And myself, to be honest, before I turned 45, I'm 52 now. I saw that being a good wife, being a good mom was to be to sacrifice myself. I
Mhm.
didn't know what I wanted or I needed. I didn't even know my hobby or anything because my life was about my kids. Then I woke up one morning at 45 and I'm like, I have enough of this. Like
Mhm.
who I am, what are my hobby, what I want to do, what are my dreams, right? And I started to do that work. And when I turned 50, it was like just a superpower. Like I felt free to go after my dreams, right? And my husband was like, but you changed. I'm like, yes. Now I'm into my full power. And so
Mm.
I started traveling solo because until now, I didn't go anywhere because I was waiting for my husband to want to go somewhere with me. And
Mhm.
the guy has traveled his entire career life, as a consultant. And I was looking after the kid. So now I had to wait for him to travel, but he never wanted to travel. So I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know. When I turn 50, I'm like, I'm out here. I'm gonna go outside and, see the world. And I started traveling solo. And it's also a way for me when what I'm hoping is when the women that like African women, Black women see me, I'm married, I have kids, and I'm traveling and I'm doing what I love because traveling is my passion. They see
Mhm.
me and they're like, if she can do it, that means I can do it too, to show them somebody that's like them. Because travelers, you often see those 20 not black traveling, right? With a
Mhm.
backpack. And they see me as a 50 years old going out there with my
Mhm.
backpack, and I do hope and I know it inspired them. I had women that came, talk to me. They won't do that publicly, but they will tell me, oh my goodness, you inspired me. And I
See.
want to do that too. So anyway, I think I spoke a bit too much now. But
No,
yeah,
no. Well, yeah, I mean, that's very inspirational because we as women, not just black women, we get set in our ways after a certain amount of time. Like in their 50s, we're no longer we seem to be not as exploratory. And I said this in the other live that I was at because we're more like we're stuck in our ways and we're scared to try something new.
yeah,
Um, Now, because this is a live broadcast, lots of things go on. So
life is happening. That's fine.
I'm visiting Portugal right now with my sister, and she's stuck at the door and can't open the door. So I'm going to go let her in, and you guys can talk for a second among yourself. I'll be right back.
That's fine. Oh my goodness. Tamara, you muted? Yeah. I like the way she introduced you. So what do you do?
So I am basically a women's menstrual and hormonal health coach.
Oh, amazing.
And it's so funny that you're talking about this and just like, having a husband and having kids and kind of doing everything for them and putting them ahead of yourself. And I actually teach women that they need to put themselves first,
Yeah.
fill their own cups in order to give to the other people in their lives.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's interesting. There's so many synchronicities here, so I'm excited to explore that.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Okay, you're
So what
back.
did I miss? Tell me about your story, Tamara.
No, so I was just explaining to Jace how she was talking about her husband, taking care of her husband and kids and just not having enough, not knowing herself and still kind of like figuring it out like into her 40s, now into her 50s, and she's able to travel and do all of that.
Yeah.
And I want women, to start putting themselves first because it's not selfish, like we need to fill our own cups in
Hmm.
order to pour out into the people in our lives, and that's so important. And so like I help women to really kind of like reconnect to themselves in that way. I'm also a traveler and a nomad myself, so yeah, I have traveled to, I've lost count. I don't actually know how many countries I've been to. It's somewhere in the 40s at this point.
Wow.
Also,
Amazing.
very much a solo traveler. For me, I don't have the partner or the children, so it's just easy for me to travel by myself. But it's
Hmm.
also that I didn't want to wait on my friends to go on a trip. I just wanted to go. Like if I'm available, I can go, and I want to travel freely, and I want to meet people, and I want to explore and do all the things. And I travel too with my backpack, being a black solo woman traveler with my backpack, and did all the things that like, other people were doing and wasn't ashamed of it because I'm like, we all inhabit this planet. We're all allowed to do all the things and explore our surroundings and also exploring ourselves because travel is the best way for us to really learn about ourselves. And I think that's really
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that for a longest time, I didn't even take vacations because I said to myself, why am I going to take vacation? I don't want to spend money on going somewhere. Like that's money I'm wasting, once a year, twice a year. But once I got the travel bug, oh, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, and that's it's. I look at it as in it's somewhat of an investment, right? You're putting money into yourself, into your well-being, getting out there and seeing things and all of that. Like that is an investment in you.
Completely. So for me, I see travel as self-care.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like it's the best way to, I don't know, it's the best gift I can give myself. Every time I go out there, it's yeah. And you know how, as you were saying earlier, um, at first when I started traveling, I felt guilty to even spend money on myself. At
Mm,
first, I couldn't even go do a pedicure or do something, spend my own money on me. Because I was
mm,
like, okay, how about the kid? How about the big kid, by the way? They like young adult, please. But, I still felt so guilty. But
right.
little by little, I went, the more I did it, the more I feel comfortable. Now I'm completely happy to spend my money on me and prioritize me. But it was not that. It took a
Gotta
long
have that
time.
self-care.
Yeah.
Well, let me introduce Angela. She is from
Hey, Angela.
Unapologetically 50 Plus. We just had a
Hello.
lot together and I had her jump on. Angela, we're talking about the power of community. And
Ah.
tell us now, you have a podcast.
Yep.
Tell us how your podcast is helping your community.
So my podcast is for primarily women 50 and over. And it's about women in this age range stepping into their next chapter. I'm talking they having clarity, confidence, and stepping into this next chapter unapologetically and authentically because for so many years, decades, we have given to everybody else. We
Yeah.
have worn that Cape, we've been in survival mode. And so my goal is to help women, you know, particularly Black women, but women of all, all ethnicities, feel like they have that support and feel like they know, okay, how do I set these boundaries to say, no, I'm going to think about me first? How do we release these societal roles that have been placed upon us and just reconnect with our passions? So that is where I'm building my community. And it doesn't that you don't have to be 50 and over, but I just know that's where my heart is. And
Mm.
hopefully women younger will look at this and say, you know what? I'm going to start doing that now. I'm not going to
Yeah.
wait till I'm 50 or 50 plus. I'm going,
Mhm.
I'm going to start doing it now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
Why
can
wait
also,
till you're
I,
50 to travel? Do it now.
do it now. Do it
I
Yeah.
now.
mean, I 150% totally agree with this. Like, I really started traveling in my 20s, but I think whenever you decide to start, like, start, like, even if you are older. So, my mom, and I would love to for my mom to even be on this now that we're talking about it. But my mom, she turned 70 last year. She's going to be 71 this month, and she travels all the time. She like has such a rich life now in her 70s than she's had even like in her 50s and 40s. But like, she's still doing that thing for her. Like she's all about her self-care. And you would not even be able to tell that my mom is 70 years old. Like
Wow.
she looks like she's maybe 40 something. So it's like
Mm.
that keeps you like these things when you do things for yourself, it keeps you young.
It keeps you
Right.
young. Yeah.
Right.
They say kids keep you young, but I don't think so. I think it's doing the things that you love.
I think the one thing I think traveling, all the things that you ladies have said, but also it's just getting to know, and maybe you guys said this already and I didn't hear it, but getting to know other cultures, other ethnicities, how other people live. That also opens up your mind to realize that, wow, there is a different way of doing something. It's not always done this particular way that we've been um, bred to believe that it has to be done this way. And then
Mm.
you get to just know that, you know, people have a different way of thinking. Our thinking isn't always the right way of thinking. And it also, it stimulates your brain, it stimulates your mind. And as we get older, we need things to keep those, that
Mhm.
energy and those fires, firing in order to, you know, pick up on new what am I trying to say here and say I'm losing my train of thought, pick up on new languages, just
I was going to say
getting
the
to
language
know,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, just getting to know other people and
Mind
other
active.
cultures is amazing, and it's
Mhm.
so good for us. I think it's just
Yeah.
a wonderful thing.
So I'll ask this question for
Absolutely.
any one of you. Was there ever a time when you felt like you isolated yourself, and what was the shift that you made to come out of it? And that could be, I know for me, there was a time I isolated myself when I was in a relationship, and that
Mm,
relationship lasted 6.5 years. And I knew after a certain period of time that I should leave, but I didn't because I didn't want people to know about, that I made it. Like I had to admit to myself, if I admitted to them that I was in the wrong relationship. But meanwhile, in the beginning, especially, I was telling them, "Oh, this is it. This is the love of my life. We're soulmates, all this other stuff." But then, as it went on, I saw the red flags, but I didn't want to tell anybody. So I couldn't admit it to myself. So why am I going to tell other people? So I didn't want to. That was how I, isolated myself from people, and I stopped talking about my relationship to other people. And I also was a part of other communities, like of women, and I kind of withdrew from those communities because I was ashamed. Yeah.
So I can also share my story on this and how I pretty much got into what I'm doing today as a menstrual health coach. So I was living in Australia like 5 years, 10 years ago. Wow, time has flown. So I moved from New York to Australia and I lived there for 2.5 years. And the time I was there, I was also in a relationship in my entirety of being there in Australia. And I found that I was also like, I isolated myself a lot. So I just spent a lot of time with my partner. So I became very wrapped up in the relationship. And like, there were points where I'm like, am I losing my identity, like who I am? Because it just feels like it's getting wrapped into this other person. And I couldn't tell, where where I began, he ended kind of thing. And so it has also put a strain on like my hormones and my cycle. And I was becoming very disconnected from myself. So I was noticing a lot of feelings that were coming up around rage and brain fog and just like anxiety, all these things, because I was just losing who I was as an individual. And I wasn't talking to people about this. I wasn't talking to my partner about it. If he said what's wrong, it was always like, I'm fine, I'm fine. I hate these words now. I'm fine.
Right.
Um, so I wasn't talking to him about it. I wasn't talking to anyone about it. I wasn't talking to my girlfriends about it because the feelings were becoming so much for me even to bear, but I was taking it all into myself. And I really just isolated myself. And in doing that, it caused like a kind of like a snowball effect, and it kept getting worse inside of me. It kept like affecting the different things outside of my life. And it wasn't until like this period of me being in Australia, I left. Me and my partner broke up, and I quit my job. I actually decided to take a year to travel solo. So that's how I started solo traveling in the first place. And I really took the time to learn about myself. So I had to like, I went from 2 periods of isolation, like isolating with this partner, but also isolating to really learn about myself, but also being in different environments and learning about the culture and whatnot. And it's not until now that I've started building this community for women to really start speaking, especially on things about themselves, like what are these hormonal changes that we're going through, because we're going to go through so many different phases of life, like the woman who's menstruating, then the woman who's going through perimenopause, then the woman who's going through menopause. Like, we go through different phases, and we shouldn't do that in isolation. We should be doing that within communities of each other and be able to speak freely to see what's going on with you, like how can I help and support you, like the same way it takes a village of like to raise a child, it also takes a village of community to come together to just like be in sync with each other and with yourself.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Okay, I can share as well. For me, as an African, there's a culture that when you marry, you leave your family and you belong to your husband's family. So even when, like, in a party, let's say we do a game and one part is Gabon, I'm from Gabon and my husband from Cameroon, I'm not allowed to go to the Gabonese because I'm not there anymore. I'm married, so I need to be to the Cameroonian side. I give that background so you understand where I'm coming from. So before I had that revelation and I really came out of that shelf, I was really living as an African wife. What I thought it was to be a good wife, meaning that even going to my family used to complain. Like, I would spend my time in Cameroon when we travel to Africa, but never, never go to Gabon because I needed to be that good wife. I needed to be that wife that would be there, support my in-laws, etc., etc. And my family used to complain, but I didn't understand that because I thought that what was required of me, and that what I saw as well with the women in Cameroon that were so care. How do you say that? They didn't do anything for themselves. They were really living for their family, for their husband, for their in-law. And when I had that awakening, and that came how, to start to travel. When you talk about community, I joined the Exodus Summit. And before that, even, I saw Stephanie Perry. I don't know if you know her. And that woman, she's
Mm,
black. She looks like me. And she's like traveling the world and, and doing house sit. I'm like, how is that possible?
mhm,
First of all, I didn't even know that as a black woman I could do house sit, because you see like, oh, would they accept me,
yeah,
etc. So seeing other women doing that, and then I joined that community, although a lot of them were single. There was a few people that were married, but living their life, going, traveling solo. And that really did something in me, awake something in me that it's possible. That's when I decided, okay, I can do that too, you know.
mm,
And then I start, because I even lost friend. I know that I lost one of my best friend that we knew each other since we were 18, but because I was so much into that African wife role, I've let go of my friends, right? And today we're trying to mend that relationship, but so much has happened. But
mm.
anyway, I forgot. Yeah, that's perimenopause brain. I keep forgetting the question.
The brain fog,
What,
I
what
know.
did you say? What was the question?
No, but that you're absolutely right, and that's what happens. Like when I was saying that I left that women's group for the relationship, and like Tamara was saying, I also that relationship consumed me. I thought
Yeah,
like I didn't know where my beginning and the end was because I was all consumed with that. Forget about pouring into myself and self care. I just that was it, and I was like, oh, well, I'll get to me at another time. Because if
exactly.
this relationship works out, if I can just make this work, everything else will fall into place. But you can't
Ab-
wait for that.
Absolutely. And I think for me, what's important is to talk also to married women, right? Like, because I had to have discussion with my husband, because for him it was difficult as well. Like the first time I traveled, if I was always there ready, he would go and always find me at the same place. I would always there. I didn't go anywhere. The meal was ready, the kids were fed, etc. Right? And then suddenly I'm traveling, like not once a year, but every few months I want to go somewhere. At first, he was like, "But you already traveled last year." I'm like,
Mm,
"Yes," and I'm going again, right? So we had to have those hard discussion to like, this is important for me. Traveling is something that I love, it's my passion, and you don't want to travel. I would love for you to come with me, but if you can't do it, I'm still going to do me. So it's something that you have to accept. We had to have that these hard discussion
my
to,
mother did
because
that.
if he didn't accept for me to travel solo, and we wouldn't have stayed together, because that was so important for my well-being, that there was no compromise about,
Right,
because I had compromised for like 25 years already. Like
yeah,
we've been together for 30 years. Is that time is for me now. And I want
right,
to tell the married women that yes, you married, but that doesn't mean that you are not allowed to have your own dreams,
right.
to do
And
things by
even what you
yourself.
just said about it's time for me now, why does it have to be? Why do we think about now is our time? Like, why not at the beginning? Why are we not right then and there and say, okay, you're having your thing. I need to do my thing also at the same time. Like,
Yeah,
somehow we need to understand how that balance is going to work in a relationship.
yeah. But what I love about what Tamara said earlier is that the younger generation, I see my girls and I'm so proud of them.
Yes.
Like my 27 years old, she's like, I'm not ready to get married because I need to do me first. And I want a man that can accept me with who I am. I want to
Right.
still be traveling, have my
Mhm.
friend. She complained about a girlfriend where this is women, because when we love completely. We give ourselves 100%. And she see her friends already who, when they have a boyfriend, they're not there anymore. You won't hear them anymore. And she complained, and she will always tell them, don't cry, don't come cry to me when you broke up. Because, the new generation, I do hope that they understand that early. that being in a partnership doesn't mean that you have to lose completely yourself within the relationship. You still need to keep the friendship, the community that you have around you, because the friend that you have, they are there for you all the time, right?
Mhm.
So these are the people you go to when you need help. So if
Right.
you push them aside, then you find yourself is isolated, and I don't know, it's not a good place to be. Anyway,
Mhm. So let me ask, who showed up for you when you didn't know how to ask for help? Because a lot of times our transformation is in that moment. When somebody, they help us out and we don't even realize that that is an actual turning point for us. So let me ask you, who showed up for you when you didn't know how to ask for help?
for me, around me, because of the community, I mean, nobody would have helped me, because for them it's normal to be that wife. That's being a good wife.
Mhm.
Being online, the community online, the women that I met online, was this community that I joined. I spoke about Exodus Summit earlier. All these women that I've joined online really showed me differently, that it's possible. It's possible to be married and do your own thing. I had a discussion with Dee, I don't know, Dee, H&D Abroad, if you know her, right? And also she's doing house sit and she's married and she travels alone sometimes. Seeing
Mm.
these women online is really that community online that helped me to see differently, that it was possible. This is why for me it's very important to, you will see in my channel, I often stress that I'm African. This is because I want the African ladies to hear me, because sometimes because of my accent, I grew up in France, so I can be confused of not being from there. I want
Mhm.
them to know that, wow, this is an African woman and she's 50 and she's able to do this. So I can do that too, right?
Mhm.
So, and I even created a coaching. I went to do a coaching training just so I could help Black women, like African women, to know that they are able to do that too. So,
Right.
yeah. I don't know if I answered the question, but it's
No,
really
you
being
did.
online, it's the community online. Yeah.
Right. And that answers my next question about how you're building your community. And even it's a subtle way about you saying that you talk about African women specifically, and that's you drawing them to you and building your community.
Yeah.
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 So does anybody want to answer the question, how do you build or even protect the community that you're serving?
So for me, I've taken different streams to actually building my community. I had started out with wanting to be on social media, and as someone who works with health and hormones, I realized there's a lot of noise, a
Mhm.
lot of noise, and I didn't want to necessarily be part of that noise, like on Instagram, just talking, because there's a lot of also conflicting information, and my goal for women is to help them to connect to themselves intuitively, and when they're seeing all that noise, it's really hard to be more intuitive and connect. So I've like shifted a little bit, where I utilize Meetup a lot to build my community and doing virtual events. And also now that I'm settled in, I now live in Lisbon in Portugal. So I'm also doing a lot of in-person events where I just invite women, like in a frictionless way, to come and just like speak vulnerably, because we're all going through something, and just having that platform to just come and speak your truth and what you're going through, and have the support of other women around you. I think there's something just so powerful about that, and not to feel judged in any way. Like everyone is welcome, we're all going through something. Um, so that's been really great for me, and like building my community, and also um, collaborating with other communities. The thing I love so much about Portugal and Lisbon is there are so many communities. and so many men's communities, women's communities, everything. And to be able to like they're all very inviting. So to be able to also go into those communities and have conversations, and the types of conversations that I'm having with women these days are incredible and so impactful. Like, I don't ever go into a room with a group of women while I'm here and it becomes like a surface level conversation about, hi, what's your job? Like, it's just, it's like people get deep. And I think
Yeah.
people really want to speak on that deeper level. They want to like have these soul deep conversations. And I feel like when we can freely converse like that, it's really creating better bonds and relationships with each other. Because there's a time where it's like you talk to someone and it just feels like, and this is how I know that it's a rich conversation, because I can talk to someone, and if like two actually this happened last night. I met this woman. I was talking to her about my business and then hormones and everything, and we spoke for 2 hours, and I left that conversation feeling so energized and so happy to meet her. But there are sometimes I will talk to someone, and when the conversation isn't at that level, I leave feeling very drained, like it's taken a lot out of me. So that's how I
Mhm.
can tell, like, I do a little conversation audit. How did this person make me feel after I left? And so being in communities like that, where people can talk so freely, so vulnerably, and just feel energized at the end of it, I think, yeah, it's
Mm. So going into it, do you set an intention to make those deep conversations happen, or is it just happening naturally?
I mean, I sometimes I will set an intention depending on, how and where the community I'm going into. But I think the intention is always to show up authentically myself.
Hmm.
And when I can show up as myself, I think that's, you become a bit magnetic to people, because you're
Thank
like
you.
not worried about impressing anyone or anything. You just are how you are.
That is powerful. Now that is like number one right there, to be authentic, and that will draw your community to you. I love that you said that. Yeah, that's wonderful. Love it.
I wanted to kind of go back to it. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Jace.
Hmm.
So, her and I are kind of in the same boat. I've been married 30 years, and I going back to your other question about, how do you, you know, take the time for yourself, basically. So I've been married 30 years, and I had to come to the point myself where, my husband's a musician, he's a martial artist. He was doing a lot of things in our 20s and 30s. So I was holding down the house, taking care of the kids, and he has been very supportive, and I have told him this is what I need in this second chapter of my life. I need to be able to travel. I definitely told him, I want to move to another country, and I will be moving to Portugal. Even though he's staying behind, for his own reasons, he's staying behind. It was a discussion we had to have, and thankfully he is very open. So that whole thing about, as a wife, you have to give up everything for your family and husband. I don't think that is necessarily true. There has to be a balance in that relationship. And I'm just thankful that he is a very open-minded and, understanding man, where he said, okay, sure, I understand this is what you have to do. You've been holding it down for these past 30 plus years. I want you to be happy. So, and like Chase was saying, we as women, we have to have that conversations with our significant others, whether you're married in a long-term relationship or whatever. We need to have those conversations with our significant other. Otherwise, you are going to be resentful if you keep going down the path where you're doing everything for everybody else and you're not doing something for yourself that you truly enjoy. You're going to be resentful, and that does not make a happy relationship at all. So
Hmm.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to add that.
No,
Yeah,
you're right, because I experienced that myself in that relationship. I just got so resentful because after so many years, it was like all about that person. I'm like, when do I come into the mix? You know, and even though we had the conversations, it was still centered around him, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, really? Like after all of that, and you still want it to be about you, and you can only take so much of that. So yeah.
Yeah, Angela, I love what you shared, and I heard your story before. And I love that you decided to go to Portugal because I'm going to France in 2 years. I already told my husband, guys, I talk in a rude way, but we have that understanding. And I'm also very lucky that as an African man, and trust me when I specify as an African man, he's really evolved in his way of thinking. Because in Africa, there's a clear role for the wife to be the helper of the man forever, okay, for the man forever. And my husband have that understanding is that's what I need. In 2 years, I'm moving back to France. I told him whether you want to come or not, we're gonna have two houses then. You're gonna say yeah because the kids want to be, but I want to go back to France. And he's okay with that. And I'm building, and also I want to come back to that question about community. I travel. My goal is to go to every country in Africa. I'm going to 13, and I'm going to 5 countries next month. I'm traveling to Africa.
Mm.
That's a way for me. When we're talking about community, when I arrive, often like in Cameroon or in these places, I usually meet with women of my age, and I tell them my story. I take them out like on the weekend. You won't believe that for some way. I mean, that's really, really hypocrite of me of saying it because I was the same then. Like they don't even go on the weekend. They don't even take the time to go to a coffee and share a coffee with friends, right? The only activity I saw them doing is when they do those tontines. It's like when women get together and save money, you know. It's a way to save money in Africa. But apart from that, and it's usually related to the family, it happened in the house, so the kids are there, but they don't have that time. They don't take that time for them. So for me, when I travel in every country in Africa, it, I show something, I meet women, I create relationship, and then online I can help them, right? And so that's another way for me to create a community. And also because I'm living, how do you know? I walk my talk. Sometimes
Yeah.
English is
Hmm.
escaping my brain right now.
That's right. You walk your talk.
I walk my talk. So they see me doing, I'm not just talking, I'm out there with them, right? I'm going to be in Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, where else? Rwanda next
Mhm.
month, and Gabon, my country of origin. But in every country where I go, I meet women, intentionally meet women of my age because I want to be men who usually they think that that's the end of life for them. They're 50, it's over. I'm sorry, that's when life starts. It's the
Right.
best years. So, yeah,
That's wonderful. And so you guys are just like, we're here. We're here because that was my next question. How are you giving back to your communities, the ones that you serve? And you clearly are by going there and talking with them and helping them in that way. Yeah. And I think, Tamara, you were talking about that too, as far as how you're serving your communities. And do you want to elaborate more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially just like getting women to start to think about themselves, think about their health, and really start to put themselves first, like, have more self-care in their life and be able to come together and speak more vulnerably, because a lot of the topics are things that in the past were pretty taboo, like we're talking about our menstrual cycles, some of, like, the cyclical issues that we're dealing with, and just like helping women to really reconnect to that part of themselves and speak vulnerably about it. And I mean, I've even been talking to people lately about including a lot of men on these conversations too, because I think it's really important for men to also have some sort of education on women's bodies, their cycles and their hormones, and even like, you know, talk to their sons about it, because that's also
Oh, yeah.
important as they get
Mhm.
older, they grow up and knowing, you know, being more aware of like the cyclical changes that a woman does go through and how to support her in those different phases.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, definitely. I wonder if the school system is doing better at that. It seems like they are, because my son, he seems to be really, more in tune with women and what they're going through and stuff. And so I don't know, maybe.
I hope
But
so.
yeah, I
You know,
know in my
Tamara,
situation, I give to help women bounce from toxic situations. The videos that I put out, and like sometimes I'll do these street interviews and I'll talk to women and try to put them not on the spot, but ask them certain questions to help them realize, like, when we're part of a community, you don't want to be judgmental. You want to be a mirror for the other people, so that they can, like a sounding board, so that they bounce off of what you're saying. You're like showing them back, this is what you're saying. So do you think that this makes sense, that you're waiting all this time for your dreams to manifest themselves, so we want to that's another way to grow our community. A lot of people don't understand how to grow their communities around them, but if you just talk with people and you're very authentic, like on my channel, I say whatever comes to my mind, whatever I'm going through in the moment. I mean, when I first started the channel, it was all about me going to work and coming from work in my car, and I told it all, like everything. So, it didn't even matter, because if it was on my mind, I was spitting it out on YouTube to my community, but I felt like it was helping not just me therapeutically, mentally, but I thought it was helping other people. And I would get comments back that, yeah, thank goodness that you said that. This was very inspirational. And that made me keep going. So all of that, it was me giving back to the community, and in turn hoping to, build it up like that. Angela, what do you?
I was going to say, even Tamara, the spiritual side of when we start going through menopause, there is a spiritual side to it. At least that's why I found my most of my transformational spiritual growth was after menopause, or post menopause, where I'm at now. That's why I found most of my spiritual growth. So that's another aspect of it that most people don't talk about or look at, that there is a true transformation once you've gone through that menopause cycle. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about what Tamara's what she's doing, and I think it's amazing because it has been taboo for so long to talk about it, to talk about your menstrual cycle, or oh, there they go with all that emotional rhetoric, whatever. Okay, but it's true. I mean, it's there's such a the change in our mind, body, and spirit when we go through that. And it's amazing and it's powerful, and we need to celebrate it more and not look at it like, okay, here she goes. So I'm
Mhm.
glad that, more and more people are talking about it and really letting women understand and know that it's okay, and we'll get through this together. It's okay. So that's a wonderful community to have. So thank you, Tamara, for taking up that mantle.
Yeah. And at the different stages, that we go through, it's so important for us to talk about it. I mean, this is unprecedented, I think, for to have women who are 50 and over, like it's a thing now. It's not just a meme, it's a hashtag. Like your channel, Angela, like, it's every time I post a video, I put 50 and over, because these women, more of us are tuning in, even 40 and over. It's a thing, and there's more of us that are having our own channels now and talking about these life circumstances and how to improve ourselves, you know.
And men need to be in, and even if they're not um, making comments in the conversations, or the becoming that vocally involved, they need to hear it too.
Yeah.
because I think that would also better help relationships in general if men really sat down and listened and took to heart what we're saying, because we're being authentic. We're coming forward and saying, this is how we're doing, this is how we're feeling, and this is what we need. And that's the best way to learn, instead of always butting heads. Listen to what these channels and what we are saying, and understand that we're just being authentic and we're being true, and this is the best way for you to learn.
Right. Yeah. So do you
Exactly. If I
think?
can say,
Oh, yeah, sure. Go.
um, I had to share videos with my husband because when I started perimenopause and understood what he was, because for me it was just hot flashes and
Mm,
some symptom, but I didn't know about dryness. I didn't know about whether your eyes become dry or everywhere become dry, or
mm.
the brain fog and all of that. I was
Yeah.
crazy, and my
Mm,
husband couldn't understand me either. And at some point, I find videos and I send them to him to watch them, and then we discuss about it. I send
mm.
them video from women and men because the men perspective, men that really explain what your women is going through, and that helped a lot our relationship
That's a
you
good
know
man.
so yeah, that's why I like what you both of you, Angela and Tamara, share, because perimenopause, I'm happy that a lot of people speak about it now, because otherwise it's like you think that something is wrong with you. And
Right.
because family don't talk about it, like in
Mhm.
the African community, that doesn't even exist.
And you
you
sure
know
don't
it's-
hear it on TV. They don't talk
no.
about it. You hear the
Yeah.
commercial about something, and then they flicking off of that. They're like, "What? What's that? That's women stuff. Like, I don't want to deal with
Oh,
that."
they're quick to talk about erectile dysfunction on
You know
TV,
what I'm saying?
but not menopause. I mean,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah,
Right.
doctor don't even know what to do with it. They tell you, but for me, it was like, okay, uh, they will try to give you antidepressant,
Mhm.
instead of trying to treat you for, I had to fight with my doctor to try to explain to them what was going on with me. So you have to advocate for yourself and with the community. As you were saying, how we're helping the community, just us being here and sharing,
Yeah.
us having YouTube channel and community online, we're helping through those conversations as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're quick to give us a pill for it.
Yeah.
Hmm. But for us, the pill is the community.
Yeah.
That's our power. That's our superpower, to stay in community and talk to one another and not isolate ourselves. And that's important. So if you could speak to someone in their lone wolf era, what would you say to them that would either draw them out from being isolated, or to empower them from being stuck in a situation, or what's something that you could say to them?
Self-care is not selfish. I don't know if Angela said it. This is very important, because
Mhm.
we often think that putting ourselves first is selfish.
Yeah.
Mainly when we are moms or wife, we think, even without that, women are so self-sacrificial. Is that the word? you know, that we are afraid of doing something for us.
Right.
It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to put yourself first. Tamara said earlier, you cannot pour, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? You
Right.
you you have to be able to be, and by the way, family benefit from that. When I travel, if I'm here for months without traveling, I'm the most miserable person. Like,
Mm.
I don't want to be next to me. When I go and I come back, I'm the best wife, best
Right.
mom, because I'm full.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. So I mean, I love this whole topic, because I know what community has done for me, even in the YouTube space, because there are many times when I felt like giving up. But because of people like you ladies and others who have poured into me to encourage me to keep moving forward, despite anything I was going through, even when I was still in the States And when I started the channel, I had people that were saying, keep going, you're inspiring, you're doing this, you're doing that. And that really, that lit me up, and that put a fire under me. So, when I talk about exit with fire, my channel, I'm serious. Like that's what I do. And I want to light that fire under other people as well to get them moving. Yeah.
I think I just wanted to add to that it's okay to put yourself out there. I think initially, like a lot of women might feel like this fear or resistance that comes up in putting yourself out there and joining different communities, but just to take it gradually and take it slowly. Like you don't just like, some people can just dive in head first, but like just kind of dipping your toes in the water and seeing like what sorts of communities work for you, and just doing more. I always say start with a little bit of internal work to see like what are the things that I need right now that's really going to fuel my soul,
Mm.
and really kind of sit with that for a while, and then you can look to see what other communities are out there that you can be a part of, or people that you feel so inspired by, like all you ladies, like you're seeing this on YouTube and you're like, okay, where how can I be a part of this, and just taking it slowly, but like really going in of that with that mindset of like, it's time for me to put myself out there. It's time for me to really think about what is fueling the fire within my soul. And the more you do it, it like creates this momentum, and you just
Mhm.
want more. I mean, Jace, you're a good example of that. Like when you started and then like now you're like, I can't even be home for that long before I want to go out again and go travel. So it's just about getting started.
Right. And some things I wanted to talk about or point out in a healthy community, because sometimes we don't know what that looks like. You gravitate towards something, but it might not be the right thing. It could be toxic, and you have to look for certain things. Like you don't want anybody telling you you're crazy for wanting more. Like when I was making my exit from my job, people were like, what? You're crazy. You can't leave, or you'll be back, or this is what are you going to do for money? Like that, that's not my mirror. That they don't know my vision and they don't understand. So I can't take that to heart what they're saying. So that's the wrong community. Like I said, you get mirrored when you get into the right community. You don't get judged for your beliefs or for your vision. And you also collapse your learning time, because you talk with other people who've been through it, and so you don't have to have that longer journey. You can learn from other people and shorten that, collapse that time frame of that learning curve that you would normally have. Can anybody else think of something uh, that you look for in a healthy community?
I look for, of course, like minded women, but I also look for women who are not in competition.
Mm.
There's no reason for us to be in competition. I truly believe there's enough for everybody. Whatever
Yeah.
that enough is, whatever that enough is for you, there's enough for everybody. So I thoroughly enjoy collaborating with other women. Miriam and I are collaborating on doing a workshop in January called the Freedom Formula Journey. So we're
Mhm.
collaborating on that. And I I always want to bring on women who are in that space, in that headspace, in that mindset, bring them onto my podcast so we can talk about it. So you can, promote what you're doing in the community. So I want a community where there's not competition. I'm not competing. At this age, I'm not competing. But should be about gathering together so we're building each other up.
Yeah. And healing. It's a healing circle too that you establish when you're in the right community. Hmm. Anyone else want to add anything to that? And it's also spiritual too. I think somebody was talking about that before, it being spiritual. um, you can feel that intuition, that intuitiveness, and too often we don't tap into ourselves to hear those answers, and we have all the answers we need, and a lot of times we do seek out other people for answers when we already know what the answers are inside. And so that's something that, we have to learn to activate that part of us, to tap into our own intuition, because that's another superpower that we have. God didn't make men with that superpower of having that intuitiveness. They were made with, they use a different way of thinking, even in their brains, and they are more into like the hands-on when it comes to things like that, and what they see visually. But ours is inside. So, like, when somebody's lying, or he's lying or something, or she's lying, you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we already know. But I'm going to listen to what you're saying, but I already know the truth. So keep talking and dig yourself deeper into that hole. Yeah. But
Um,
sharing stories is important too, like we're doing now.
as far as, because I do, like I mentioned, I do belong to a lot of communities outside of my own community here in Lisbon, and for me, it's about also being in the room with like-minded women, individuals, women, men, whoever. And similar to what you said, Miriam, like how to shrink that space. I also like to be in communities with people I really respect and admire. And how can I, because it's like a lot of times I end up being in rooms where sometimes I'm the smartest person in the room, and then sometimes I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I think it's good to be in that room too, because you're seeing people and like you're learning so much from them. And I love to be in communities where I can definitely learn from other people and grow from other people.
Mm.
'Cause I think, like, knowledge is power. And like if someone is sharing information to give me a different perspective on an outlook, I think that's great, because it just helps me to expand my consciousness and my awareness, and grow as a person. And so that's one of the most important things for me when being in a community.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love that. Anybody else? No. Okay. There was something I wanted to do, this like brief thing. Let me see if I can find it. It was sort of like a game that I wanted to play, but I don't know if I still have it on here. Just a few questions that I wanted to ask. Let me see if I can find it though. Hmm, give me 1 second. Let's see. Is this it? No, that's not it either. Will I be able to find it? Oh no, I don't know where it is. I think I've lost it. Mm, I thought it was going to be fun. Might have to save it for the next episode. Well, like I said, the power of community is so important, and how to do this life on our own and isolate yourself. Like, why do that when you can have sisters, you can have brothers who are, even somebody I met today, and she's from the school platform, and I just looked up to see who was in the area that I'm visiting, and I met two women, and we met up and stuff, and she was saying like, oh wow, is she going to show up, like, I've never done something like this before. And have I done this? I don't know if I've ever done anything like that before, but I just decided to do it. But we just established this little circle and bounced ideas off of one another and helped one another in the 2 hours that we sat there. And it was just an amazing experience. And we just had so much, so many things in common, because we're in this same, atmosphere like we ladies are, as far as YouTube and social media and stuff. And it was just amazing to do that. And that's the power of community, because I got some answers that I didn't know about, and so did they, and that's shortens that learning gap that I was talking about before. So,
Yeah, can I share quickly something? Like
yeah.
last month I was in Germany and then Spain. I spent I don't know how long in Spain, so I went to
What part of
Saragossa,
Spain did you go to?
Madrid, and Barcelona.
Oh, okay.
And when I arrived in Zaragoza, there's a friend that I met in the community online here, and I'm like, can you host me? I'm a backpacker, okay? And I
Yeah.
went there, she hosted me. We had an amazing time. And because we've been talking online like we do, guys, we were sitting next to each other and talking like we knew each other for so long.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And another sister from the Exodus that I met um, in Madrid and Barcelona. And
Mhm.
in March, I'm going to Malaysia, meet another lady from the I met online, because I want to build guest house in Gabon, in my country of origin. So that's why I'm going to Tanzania. I'm going to meet another lady as well, who is there, Pam, who has a guest house in Zanzibar. And all of that is the power of internet. And in Malaysia, same. I'm going to be going to that friend that I met online. And this is just amazing. And also, it brings us together, like the people that I would never have met. Often before coming online, you feel a bit like an outcast. Like, I'm 50, I'm a backpacker, I want to travel. What's wrong with me? Right? And then you come online and you meet other people doing the same thing, like-minded people. The community is the best thing, even on YouTube. It's the best thing out here. Meeting, I met two new, although I knew Angela, and I went to the podcast earlier, listened to both of your interview, and then I went through your list. You know how you sometimes you join a YouTube channel and then there's so much. You have so many amazing topics. I think I'm gonna binge watch your channel for a while so I
Good.
can.
I
Yeah, you
love
have so many great um, channels there. Yeah.
it. Yeah. All right. So I found it. This is a little rapid fire segment. So it's more like a this or that you answer. Okay. So the first one is, do you need to feel safe to open up? Do you have to feel safe first, or do you open up to feel safe?
I need to feel safe to open up.
Same.
Same.
Okay. See, sometimes I'm the opposite. I will open up to kind of test the waters to feel safe. Yeah. So second one is, one ride or die or a whole tribe?
You have to explain this one to me.
Okay, yeah. So a ride or die is down for anything, like your bestie, person who will be with you, listen to you no matter what, they're going to be there for you. So a ride or die or a whole tribe of people. Which one would you rather have? This or that?
I think I have to do a ride or die. Yeah. I mean, this is a hard one. I really have to think about it. But like, just someone who like is down with me and going down this journey and this road with me. Yeah, ride or die.
Okay.
I have to say I used to be a ride or die. I mean, I still am with my husband when I talk about him. Right, I'd have to say a tribe, but a small tribe.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
2 or 3, because sometimes your ride or die is not available. So
Mm.
if you're just using one person as as the person you go to every time there's a problem, or even, if it's not a problem, but sometimes you also want to get different perspectives if you have a question. But
Right.
it wouldn't be a huge tribe. It would be a small,
Great.
2 or 3 tops.
I'm with Angela because for me, you have friend and tribe for different things. Like my best friend, like she's not into backpacking. She'd be like, nah, never, right? There's a lot of things that we don't share, but she's still my best friend. But I have my tribe of travelers. I have my tribe of women over 50. So for me, tribes, because you get something differently from different people.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay. The next one is being poured into or pouring into others. Being poured into or pouring into others.
Well, I'm going to say being poured into, then I can pour into others.
Self-care. Okay. Put on your oxygen mask first. Yeah, got it. How about you, ladies?
I like that because I can't pour into others without again having a full cup. So yeah, being poured into.
that's a hard one for me, which
Mm,
shows that, it's a journey, right?
yeah.
Because I'm debating like being poured into, or the other one is
Pouring into others. Yeah.
pouring into other. That's a hard one for me
Hmm.
because, oh my goodness, you just make me realize that I have some work to do still because this is traumatizing. Like, oh my goodness, what am I
Oh
going to do?
no, but these are thinking questions, and this is
This
what
is very
we
good,
want
yeah, because
communities
it
to
makes
think
you
about.
think deeper. Yeah. Okay.
So, how about this one? Big, bold conversations or quiet, consistent presence?
Oh, deep.
Big, bold conversations, or would you rather have consistent, quiet presence?
Big bold for me because I'm introvert and that consistent every day, I'd be tired. I want to have this big conversation here, but I
Yeah.
need to sleep now for a few days so I can do another one. Like,
I think for
You know
me, it
what?
depends on the
I get
day.
it.
It
I
depends
get
on the day and who I'm talking to.
it. I think I'm yeah, big bold conversations because I too will then need to take a nap afterwards.
I'm going to probably say quiet because I like the quiet, bold conversations. And again, it depends on my mood, but bold conversations for me requires a lot of thinking for me. And I'm not like this rapid fire. I'm glad it was an either or because sometimes when people just ask me questions and I don't have it written down,
Yeah.
my brain just shuts off. So sometimes it's hard for me to think in the moment, and I don't know if that's with age or what. But so bold conversations requires me to think in the moment, and sometimes I'm not equipped to do that, and I don't want to sound like a bumbling idiot. So I would say quiet, consistent, whatever you said, more
Okay.
quiet.
Okay. Let's go quiet. Shut up. Public accountability or private processing? Public accountability or private processing?
before I would have said private, but because I'm on YouTube now,
Mm.
uh,
Right.
I often take my audience and my community as accountability partner, and I'm talking of something specific like my weight loss, like my health
Oh, yeah,
journey,
that's right. You
right?
have that going on. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm doing the 75 balance challenge. Is adaptation of 75 hard. Couldn't do that, so I created my own, and so I spoke about it online because it forces me to be accountable,
Mhm.
right? If it's a private quiet with myself,
It might not happen. Right. I gotcha.
I'm gonna admit I don't even know how to answer this question. I don't have an answer for you on this one. This one's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a processing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm very much in my head to myself, like processing everything before. Yeah,
Like I'll have public accountability, but I've already processed it in my head. So, yeah, that would be my answer for that. Okay, so text thread support or face-to-face connection?
Face
Um,
to face.
yeah, I used to like I obviously I'm still like a texter or whatever, but I'm just seeing now the power of face to face, especially as we're now coming out of this post COVID age, and like people are doing a lot of in real life again. And so I just think there's certain energetic things that you can read from a face to face that you just can't get from a text. So yeah, yeah, face to
Mm,
face.
I agree with that. Like, we need to get off the computer and meet, because we spend so much time behind the computer. It's lovely to go to a coffee with a friend to meet, like the friends that I met, uh, you know, in Spain after seeing them, like I see you guys online. It's just amazing. Yes, so face to face.
yeah, and I would say now it's face to face. Like Tamara said, mine has changed. It was text message. I would tell everybody, "Oh, I'm a texter, so text me." But really, it was because I'm an introverted extrovert. That's what I call myself because I like to be alone. I like the quiet. I like all that. But when I'm out and about, I'm like, "Hey, the roof is on fire." I'm like, "Bring it." And I'll stand on the table and start dancing and everything. But that's it. So that's me, but I like that quietness. I like my alone time, and I like when I'm with a partner when we're just by ourselves. So yeah, I'm an introverted extrovert.
I'm actually an extroverted introvert.
Oh wow. Okay, that's funny. And that's funny because people think I'm an extrovert, but they see it in that moment where I'm like very outgoing and stuff, but inside I could be thinking, okay, what time is it? I got to get home. I want to read my book. I want to, I don't want to be in this space. It's too noisy. It's too busy. That's why I don't even like going to the mall or shopping and stuff. I'd rather be home. So, okay. So the next one is breaking generational cycles with community or healing in solitude first, then circling back.
I think healing first, and then breaking generational cycles with community, because in order to break any sort of generational cycle you first have to heal yourself.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, me too.
So you don't feel like that could ever happen in partnership with others at the same time.
I think you have to do the
The
work
work.
first.
Yeah.
You have to first even understand and know that you're having an issue, right? So there's a lot of work to do before then sharing and working as a group. Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah,
agree.
I think with others, it kind of does create that noise. And it depends on the type of person you are. The same way I can get wrapped up in a relationship, the same way I can get like wrapped up in other people. And it creates that noise that I feel like it takes me first, and being, with myself and doing that self healing before I can then expand that to other people.
Okay. Showing up messy or waiting until you're more put together?
Show up messy.
Messy all the time.
Messy.
Me
If
too.
you're waiting, you're never gonna get there.
Yeah.
I've had to learn to show up messy. It
Yeah.
wasn't always easy for me.
Mhm.
But doing my podcast, I've learned it doesn't have to be perfected. People don't necessarily want perfect.
Right.
So showing up messy.
Okay. I have two
Done is
more.
better than perfect.
Being seen in your struggle or only in your strength?
Seen in your
Struggle.
Struggle.
Yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with the messiness too, right? Okay, so the last question is sisterhood you chose or sisterhood that found you? Sisterhood you chose or sisterhood that found you?
I don't think I can choose, right? Because there are opportunities where there are sisterhoods that I choose, but then there are opportunities. It all also goes back to what I said, where when you can show up authentically, like you become magnetic and you attract the right people in your life. So there's, for me, it's a balance of both.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Same here.
All right, good. Well, I think those are all the questions that I wanted to talk about. The topic is was powerful. Anybody else have anything to add before we close out this wonderful session of Crowns and Coffee?
This
I
was
like
great.
that.
Me
Crowns and
too.
coffee. I
Where
like
did you
that.
get this question? They were amazing. And
It's things that were in my head and I put them out, and then I utilize AI also, and my AI like knows me very
which
well.
one? Is it Chat, GPT, or
Chat,
Gemini?
yeah,
Yeah,
chat
I know.
knows me very well. So I put
Yeah,
together like a list of things I want to talk about, and then
yeah.
he, spits. Like he gave me some stuff, and I was like, no, I don't like that at all. Like I want it to be done like this, and to be this, and he just, yeah, he
Yeah.
knows me. I mean, he's so good. He's like, oh yes, queen. Like I can hear his voice, and because
I
he knows
know.
A queen. Like yes, queen. Like I'm like
Yeah,
okay,
that's mine as well. Is my friend. Like, yeah, every day we
yeah.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hey, it's I shouldn't even say it's the future. It's here, so we might as well utilize it and have it help us as long as it doesn't, take over our whole being, but as
I
long
know.
as it's
I know.
helping, I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
utilize
helping.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
And I wanted to say I'm so glad that I get the chance to talk to. It's different. Like we only chose us like comment on the YouTube channel. It's
Mhm.
very different than having a conversation with you guys now.
Yeah.
Tamara, do you have social media? Like online? You have anything?
I have Instagram. I will tell you, I'm not very active on it. I mostly deal with Substack. I love written word,
I don't know
so
what stuff stack. So
it is. It
uh,
could become your best friend because you can do write long content pieces. You can write really short notes, and then you can also do a podcast on Substack, like do video recordings. All of that is just like, and it's your own audience as opposed, so you can use your email list. You have people that can follow you, so you're building up your own audience versus Instagram. Like if that platform went down, so does all the people that followed you. So
okay,
I mostly love to stare with Substack, but I have all the other things. I'm just not as active on them.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I'm
But
gonna
I'm
put
looking to
everybody's
follow you
information.
ladies. I'm looking. I This was so enriching for me, and I just love having these conversations. So thank you, Miriam, for inviting me. I know she was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this thing." I had no clue what it was about, but I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Because I met Tamara through Meetup. Like I saw, because I'm always searching things, and I was looking for women like me who were helping their communities, and I came across her Meetup, and I was looking at the description and everything. I was like, oh, okay. So then I reached out to her, but we didn't have time to connect then because I was moving back to Spain and stuff. And I said, when I move back, I'm connecting with you and we're going to do this. So here she is. I'm so happy that you were able to join. I'm happy that Jace, we've been trying to get connected for a while now. So that happened. And I'm glad that we did it this way. And
Absolutely.
Angela, she's she's like my ride or die now because we're doing this experience, this freedom formula experience together. And so that
And
this
we
is
both have the same birthday, so
we both have the same birthday.
Oh
So yeah.
wow.
And we
Happy
found each other
birthday.
because we even though we knew we had the same message, we were reaching the same group. It speaks to what she said. Like, there's no jealousy. There's no time for that. We're here to be of service. We want to help our communities grow, and that's what we decided to collaborate.
When's your birthday?
December
December
5th.
5th.
Oh,
Wow.
my mom's December 2nd, so
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Sagittarius. You already know.
Wow. My youngest December 6th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, see?
Yeah. Ladies, can you talk quickly about your workshop? Just so,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Angela, I'm gonna let you take a
Oh,
lead on
okay. Oh, I took the, no, I'm just kidding. So basically, we're calling it the Freedom Formula Journey, and it's going to be breaking free from the grind. We're talking about releasing old expectations, working on our boundaries, and basically just stepping into a life that's free, authentic, and in alignment with who we are now at this stage of our life. So 40 is going to be for women 45 and older. If you're younger, sure, you could join. We're not going to discriminate, but that's just trying to um, get folks to understand that you can break free from the grind. And Miriam will be doing her talk on one day, and then I'm going to do mine on the first day. And then we'll have two guests that are going to come on. And it's going to be 2 days, 4 hours each day. And we're just going to, it's transformational. That's what we're saying, that it's going to be a transformational journey from going from grind to just living your authentic self.
That's right. See how beautifully you did that?
That
That's what I
sounds
love.
Ah, I
amazing.
had my notes. Had my notes.
When is it happening? When is it happening?
End of January. So we're still putting it, finishing
Okay.
touches on it. But yeah, end of January is our
We
target
have a
date.
wait list, and I'll link that below too. So anybody who's interested now, because we have some giveaways for people who join up early, and so yeah,
Yeah.
we'll link to that. So listen, ladies, and those who are watching on the replay or watching right now, I just want you to know you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have the courage to not do it alone anymore. There's a community out there for you. And if you're ready for a room that's real, healing, honest, and empowering, my school platform is open. My school community, it's called the Freedom Collective. I encourage you to join that. And for the next 25 people, it's only it's you'll have lifetime access for that. And I have a course on there right now for public speaking that I'm building out. And right now it's only $1 after you join. And that is not going to stay for $1. But it's, that is a limited time. So I encourage you to join it now, but you will be amazed at the resources that and the community that you'll encounter there. And always check for what I'm doing here on YouTube on Exit with Fire, and check out the links to all these wonderful ladies, because they are doing their thing. They are serving their communities large, and I'm sure that each one of them have something that will resonate with you. And I encourage you to check out their channels and subscribe as well with them. And just know it's not about clout, it's about connection for all of us. And it's out there. The community is out there waiting for you. So thank you, ladies. Thank you very much for being here. Let me put my
Thank you,
music
sweetie.
on.
Oh, put your music on.
Uh-oh. All right, ladies. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys. It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, ladies. Bye bye.
Bye.